These are the Switch Ones by Vigilant Audio, a set of studio monitors that claim to pack high-quality sound into a super compact form factor, making them very attractive to content creators, music producers, or just somebody looking for the best sound in the smallest possible package. In addition to offering a great listening experience, the Switch Ones also bring with them a unique feature, which we'll talk about later on in this video. Now, about a month ago, the folks over at Vigilant Audio reached out to me and asked if I would be interested in taking a look at these speakers and possibly doing a review on them, since I've covered another set of studio monitors here on the channel in the past. Well, after a couple days of messaging back and forth, I eventually agreed to have a pair sent over to test out, which now leads us to this video. Today, we'll be taking a look at the Switch Ones. We'll be going over build quality, design, features, and most importantly, sound quality. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Unboxing the Switch Ones is a pretty standard affair, but no less enjoyable. Of course, you get the speakers themselves, as well as a box with all the necessary cords and wires, plus some documentation to round it all off. I was also sent some neat Vigilant Audio stickers, which I'm not sure are standard, but are appreciated either way. Now, right off the bat, the first thing that jumps out to you is their size. These are some very small and compact speakers. They almost border on cute, but in a professional kind of way. When I was asked to take a look at these speakers, I was aware that they were going to be on the small side, but just how small wasn't really apparent to me until I opened them up. And just to be clear, their small size isn't inherently a bad thing, but the size of a speaker does have an effect on things like sound quality and just what level of sound is able to be pushed from these speakers, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. As for the setup process, it's all pretty straightforward and simple. Just connect the speakers to one another using the provided speaker cable, which I will add is very nice. I've had to deal with stringing around speaker wire in the past, and making sure that the speakers are properly wired up can be just a little frustrating, but with these, all you have to do is plug in one single cable and you're done. So definite props for making this experience super convenient. Next, you can plug the speakers into your audio source using the RCA to 3.5mm cable, and finally plug in the power cable which runs from the AC adapter. You may also want to stick on the adhesive foam pads that act as little feet for the speakers to avoid scratching the cabinets. Again, a super easy setup process which I definitely appreciate. Moving over to build quality, now you'll find that the Switch Ones are actually very well put together, with the cabinets being made out of a sturdy material that gives them a very solid look and feel. Nothing about them sticks out as being flimsy or of a lower quality. Each part of the speakers is well made, from the inputs and outputs on the back to the drivers and tweeters and even the volume knob on the front. It's all very nice and well built, and I think that they're definitely sure to last someone a good long time when placed on a desk, in a studio, or even in an entertainment setup. The design of the Switch Ones follows mostly the same tried and true layout that's come to be expected from most professional speakers, with the main driver and tweeter being on the front, as well as the volume knob, auxiliary in, and headphone out. But in addition to that, it also features the dual passive radiators on the left and right side of the box, which gives them a really unique look since that isn't something I've seen on another pair of speakers before. Located on the back are all of your inputs, outputs, and toggles, which again is pretty standard stuff and should be familiar to anyone who's used a set of speakers like this before. Now, while build quality and design are both important in their own right, at the end of the day, you don't buy a pair of speakers because they look nice, or at least I hope you don't. Ultimately, what matters most here is how they sound. Now, I've been using the Switch Ones for roughly a week now, putting them through several use situations such as editing, recording audio, gaming, and especially listening to music. And I can honestly say that the sound quality of these speakers is very good. When I first unboxed them and saw just how small they were, I was thinking that surely the sound quality was going to have taken a hit, but the more that I used them, the more evident it became that this just wasn't the case. These speakers provide a rich listening experience with crisp and clear highs, as well as pronounced low-end sounds. When listening with the volume cranked up, you really do feel enveloped in the sound, which is honestly a very pleasant experience. Neither end of the spectrum seemed to overpower or distract from the other, and everything comes together to form a sound that's just good and nice to listen to, in both modes too. Because yes, this speaker has two different sound profiles for separate use cases. The first being a studio mode, which is meant to have a bit of a flatter sound profile, ideal for music production, video editing, and the like, and the second profile being a hi-fi mode intended to have a more sweetened sound to enhance things like listening to music, watching movies, or playing video games. This is really what's meant to be the main selling point of the Switch Ones, aside from their smaller footprint. The fact that instead of buying one set of speakers meant especially for one use case, those cases being professional or entertainment use, you can have a single pair of speakers that can be used for both situations interchangeably. This idea is incredibly attractive on paper, especially if you're like me and you use your setup for both work and entertainment. I've now spent a bit of time toggling between the two profiles, and the difference, while sometimes easy to miss, is definitely present. I can tell that the studio mode is more subdued and has a little bit more of a flatter sound, and just doesn't have as much kick in the low-end frequencies, while the hi-fi mode sounds richer and just a bit more punchy and tight. Honestly, I found myself leaving the speakers in hi-fi mode because I liked the way it sounded a bit more than the studio mode. But I think whatever sound profile someone prefers is going to be completely subjective and ultimately down to a matter of taste and needs. But as far as audio fidelity goes, both modes sound really nice, just with some slight changes between them. One other thing that I really liked about these speakers was the inclusion of Bluetooth audio support. I use my computer setup as almost the hub of my studio, which means that when I'm not using it to edit or work on videos, I'm probably listening to something, and the fact that I can just pair my phone with literally the press of a button is a huge plus for me. And as it stands, I just really enjoy having lots of options when it comes to inputs and getting audio to your speakers. So again, really happy to see this option included. In addition to all of the things I enjoy about the Switch Ones, there were a few things that I wasn't as much of a fan of. The first of which was the placement of the power and sound profile switches, both of which are located on the back middle of the speakers. Their location, paired with the fact that they're both fairly small switches, means that there can be a decent bit of hunting that needs to be done in order to use them. Generally, I feel like this might not be that big of an issue, at least with the power switch, but since you're encouraged to toggle between the two modes, presumably on a regular basis depending on your situation, I'd really like for the sound profile switch to be in a more convenient spot. The second thing that I didn't really care for was the fact that the low-end sounds, while nice, could have been ever so slightly deeper, specifically in the hi-fi mode. I'll fully acknowledge this could just be a personal gripe of mine. I'm absolutely a bass head and I love it when speakers have extra punchy sound. I also completely understand that these are studio monitors meant for giving you the most accurate sound possible. But since it has a dedicated hi-fi mode that's meant to be separate from the professional studio mode, I would have loved there to be just a little bit more oomph under that profile. There were definitely some moments where I was wishing that it had just that extra little kick to it. Even giving you some more flexibility with how you can tune the speakers to your liking would be a plus, kind of similar to the tuning dials seen on the PreSonus Ares 3.5s, a much cheaper set of speakers I will add. Though as far as actual criticisms go, that's really all I have to say. These speakers remain a pretty solid set all around, and when it comes to any product there will be gripes and things that you dislike, and what one person dislikes about something could be what another person enjoys about that very same product. These are just some of my own personal opinions, and you can take them however you like. So what are my final thoughts about these speakers? Would I recommend them, and will I be switching over? Overall, I think that the Switch One studio monitors are a solid set of speakers with good audio quality, connectivity, size, and features, and will make a great addition to any creator setup. That being said though, whether or not I would recommend them to someone depends on a couple of factors. If you're just beginning and are wanting a pair of speakers to start out with, then I have a harder time recommending these to you simply because of their slightly steep $249 price tag. Likewise, if you're wanting an upgrade from some cheaper consumer level speakers, but are on a budget, these also become more difficult to suggest. These are great speakers, no doubt about it, but for $150 less, you could pick up other studio monitors such as the PreSonus Ares 3.5s or the Mackie CR3s, which may not have exactly the same level of audio fidelity, but speaking from personal experience, at least as far as the PreSonus speakers are concerned, they have a comparable level of quality when price is factored in. Plus, the money that you'd be saving could be invested into some more audio equipment, which especially for beginners I think could be more important than blowing all of your money on one piece of gear. If you were able to nab these at a lower price, say $150 or even $175, that might be a different story, but as it stands, I would look elsewhere if you're on a limited budget. I would recommend these monitors to people who are maybe looking for a step up from their old studio monitors, or maybe those who don't have as limited of a budget. I would definitely consider these to be great options, especially if you're working with a tighter studio space. Not all of us can have a super large studio to work in, so if you're wanting something that can pack a lot of sound into a very small package, these would definitely be worth checking out. Finally, will I be switching over? As of right now, yes, I have replaced my old studio monitors with these ones because I feel that the jump in clarity and overall sound, plus some of the things like Bluetooth connectivity, are reason enough to have these sitting at my desk as opposed to my old ones. Now, my old speakers had a good run and I definitely plan on keeping them around, probably as a backup pair, but for the time being, I am a happy Switch One user. Well, that just about wraps up this review of the Switch One studio monitors. I want to give an extra big thanks to Vigilant Audio for sending these out to me. I really enjoyed checking them out. They're a great startup company with some awesome products for people who just want to focus on creativity without all of the technical headache. If you'd like to purchase a pair of Switch One speakers for yourself, I'd encourage you to please use the links in the description down below. They are my Amazon affiliate links, so using them not only brings you conveniently to the product page, but it also gives me a little kickback and it helps things keep running here on the channel. If this is the first time you're seeing my channel, then first off, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope that you'll check out all of my other videos. And if you want to see more content like this, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on a future upload. In the meantime, thank you again so much for tuning in. You've been watching All Around Filmmaker, and I'll catch you in the next video.